Like one of her own lyrics, Carly Simon keeps coming around again. In fact, that's her first hit album in 6 years. For someone who has been part of our pop culture since the early 70s, she's hard to define. And like many celebrities, she shelters her private life. She doesn't give many interviews, but when she does, she's surprisingly open, as she is in her songs, telling you things you wouldn't tell your best friend.
Let me drown my pride in the sea. I'm bound for the island.
The island she's singing about is Martha's Vineyard, off the coast of Massachusetts. This is her refuge, far from the city, here in the house in the woods she built with her ex-husband, James Taylor. Did you just get sick of New York?
I know that I'm healthier, I'm better, I'm happier, I'm more in sync in the country, and particularly around the ocean.
She's been coming to the island since she was a child. Last June, she felt comfortable enough here to stage her first live performance in 7 years.
Baby sneezes, mommy pleases, daddy breezes in. So good on paper.
Her stage fright is legendary. This is as close as she comes to a national concert tour, recording a cable TV special in front of her friends.
It wasn't a very large audience. It was out of doors. There weren't a lot of lights on me. I find lights to be quite dizzying. Being indoors in a black room with lights on me, I find sort of, I'm up against the wall. I find that unnatural. It's a tremendous struggle for me. And of course I'm working on it. I don't want to just say, okay, I can't do this and just kind of settle back. I'm not that type of person. I do try to overcome blocks.
Now, before coming around again, you had a period where you didn't have an album that was a top 10 or 20 or 30 or 40 album for a while.
Tell me about it.
Yeah,
Hey,
what was that?
Give it to me.
Were you okay? You were intellectualizing a lot during that period?
Underneath it all, I knew that everything was going to be all right. And I know that the public is fickle, and I know that if I wait long enough, the curve is going to come around again to where I may be legitimately hip again, because you can only be unhip for so long. Of course, you don't stay even-mooded all the time. Sometimes even within the framework of my philosophy, I could say, oh, I'm really nothing. I never was talented. I can get that way just like anybody else can, but especially me.
She's candid about her insecurities, and there are plenty of them. The stage fright, the anxiety attacks, fear of flying, a painful stammer when she was younger.
How do you like it?
Not bad. We know about the ex-lovers and the failed romances. Her music is charged with admissions of her own vulnerability, and her private problems have somehow contributed to her public success.
A lot of people respond to her because she writes very directly about basic, primal human emotions.
Stephen Holden, a rock critic for the New York Times.
One of her artistic strengths is that she really does tell the truth. The naked, ugly, nasty truth about sexual jealousy and sexual boredom. She really has gotten into the realm of the relationships between the sexes and your erotic life as deeply as anyone in popular music has.
And I believe in love, but what else can I do? I'm so in love with you.
Her songs are her diary. From her music, we know about the family. Very close, very musical, very competitive. Carly Simon's music is a kind of emotional striptease that comes naturally to her.
I've never understood about privacy. I've never really understood it. It's as if there's a little valve missing. It's like, you know, the privacy valve. I'm very open. I don't see why people have these secrets from each other. I don't see why I can't tell you everything about myself and you can't tell me everything about yourself. Other people say, oh, you're revealing that about yourself. Oh, you've told that person that much about yourself. But at the time that I'm doing it, it seems like the most natural thing. It seems like, why should there be barriers between us? We're just two human beings on this earth at the same time. What's the big deal?
Yeah, yeah, Mockingbird now, everybody have you heard? He's gonna buy me a mockingbird.
What made her musical diary particularly fascinating to her audience was her high-voltage life. She married James Taylor in 1972, and they became the royal couple of rock and roll. The marriage was difficult. There were reports of affairs and his addiction to heroin. To know what was happening in Carly Simon's life and who was doing what to whom, all you had to do was listen to her lyrics.
I think people are intrigued by your lifestyle today, who you're going out with, who's your man. People still are fascinated by the Carly Simon, James Taylor era.
Really? That's curious, because that seems as if an awful lot of people wouldn't even know that I was ever married to James Taylor.
Oh, come on.
No, I mean a lot of the younger kids who, you know, would not know that. What would you like to know specifically? I mean, I'll try
Do
to
you talk to him? You see him? What kind of relationship do you have with him today?
Ah, you want to know, huh? No, let's see, I'm not going to be coy. I talk to him, and I see him whenever we drop off the kids at each other's places or whatever. It's a strain. It's a definite strain, because there's a big emotional content. It's not as if it's been discharged entirely. I know that I have more feelings for him than I thought I'd have at this point.
Do the walls come down when you think of me? Do you let me in?
The marriage ended in 1982, but Taylor's presence haunts more than just Simon's fans.
Something in my pocket that was written years ago. In faded ink said, you are my fire. Do you think so?
I wonder at people who can get divorced easily. I'm not one of those people who really can turn it off. So it comes back to me with tentacles of anger and despair and love and humbleness and all kinds of things. James will always feature very importantly in my life because of so many things.
Is it easier for you to say you never loved me anyway? Or do you hide me in your attic trunk like a stowaway?
I usually write because I'm in pain. I'm suffering in some way, and if I can get it out, it somehow is easier to deal with, because then it's almost like you're dealing with it secondhand.
Are you the kind of person who does better in relationships, or are you happy sometimes when you're free and solo?
Both. I enjoy being free and solo, but only if there's an idea in the wings. You know,
A man on standby? What does that mean, an idea in
no,
the
a
wings?
man in the wings, only if there's like the flirtation of an idea, of a real person. So I can only live on fantasy for so long. I like the real man.
The current man in her life is a writer named Jim Hart, who lives with her on the island. Simon has consistently maintained that home and hearth are a priority for her, that her two children, Sally and Ben, come first. But she has paid a price.
I would say I do about 1/4 of the amount of music that I would do if I didn't have kids. I really, really find it hard. James Taylor is a terrific father, but basically, I mean, I see the kids infinitely more than he does, and he sees them pretty much when it's convenient for him to see them. And so therefore, I can't, for instance, just say to him, hey, I've just been asked to do Miami Vice for 6 weeks, will you cover for me? It's not like that. And yet he goes on tour. I mean, he sort of is more career-oriented than I am. And, you know, sometimes I really end up resenting it. Spell tattooed.
Tattoed.
Perfect. If I was on a desert island and I had to choose either just a career or just motherhood, I would choose just motherhood. And other people get into trouble more than you do.
Usually.
You know that. Other parents are more strict.
Not always.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
It's not an act. Simon is genuinely in her element here. But if she seems at home in the kitchen, her public image certainly leads to the bedroom.
Nobody does it better. Though sometimes I wish someone could.
Whether it's a video or an album cover, you obviously don't do anything you don't feel comfortable with.
I do sort of a number of different things. There's sort of a number of different me's that come out during a photo session, and it happens to be the record company that picks the shot, or that usually has a favorite shot, and they usually like the sexy ones. Some people have said that I actually have a sexy face.
People like your mouth. That's what they like, don't they? You
The
know
great
that.
overbite.
Yeah.
You know, dentists hate my mouth.
Give me all night. Give me the full moon.
She really wants to please men and get male approval. The image she presents is somebody who wants to be all things to all men, and women don't really play a part in that. On the other hand, she is an image of strength and success and capability. So she's a positive role model in that way.
Are you more of a man's woman than a woman's woman, do you think?
No, no.
How so?
I get along equally well with men and women. I think I generally prefer being around women, except when I'm around men.
Give me all night till the last star fades. And if you can't take my heart and soul, take it from me anyway.
Coming up on West 57, are they the strange?